Oh.
Hello, and welcome to the Marty and Tabby Show. We have Miss Ida Nelson on here as a guest, and Miss Kelly Williams Bowler will be joining us shortly. As always, welcome to the show, and I would like to go ahead and hand it over to Marty for her to give you guys a greeting.
Hi, welcome, and we're looking forward to starting the healing and the education. That's
Yes.
it.
Okay, so the topic today is advocacy and healing, and both of the people that's joining us, Miss Ida does not have a lot of time, so we're going to go ahead and allow her to speak and share them. Marty invite her on, so I'm going to kind of let them guide the conversation.
Okay, the goal is to basically unify us as Black women, especially Black mothers, because what's affecting you is basically seeing story after story. So when are we going to finally unify and rally around all of our children?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
well,
Our
that's
children.
exactly where I'm at with it. I'm right there with you, and it's beautiful to see that there are some other people that are on the exact same page that I'm on. I started an organization called Kids Like Jet. For this very purpose, because I feel like if my son, who is 4 years old, can experience discrimination and negative intentions for him in the school system at that young of an age, then no child is off limits. And I'm at this point where I'm like, the mental health outcomes for our children
Mhm.
is no longer on the table, and I'm kind of on fire about that.
Okay, Miss Nelson, I don't know your story, and I apologize. I know somewhat of it. If you could tell the listeners a little bit about the background of what happened, do we still have her?
Ida,
Like she froze up.
yeah.
You can
Okay.
hear me?
And
Okay.
can you also tell them where you're joining us from as well? Because I think that's important.
So in
Okay.
Chicago, from I'm right in Chicago. Thank you very much. That is a that is actually it is a 100% African American
You're
private
breaking up.
school refuge. I saw something that said if you go close to the internet source, so maybe I'll go closer to my router. But
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Jet's downstairs. Well, Jet can come upstairs. We can switch. Are we getting better now?
Yeah, you're
Better?
clearer now. Hmm.
No.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so I'll sit on my steps then and take. Okay, so I saw. Okay, so my kids went to a school that is an African American school, predominantly African American. Actually, it's 100% African American school, but the that is the student body. That is not the representation is not the same
Teaching.
in terms of the administration. So that school has
Right.
85% non-African American people in charge of the kids, and they had a rule in the book that said, my son asked me to braid his hair. He's 4. He's in preschool. He asked me to braid the top of his hair. The little he had the little box haircut at first, the little sponge box, cool little haircut. And he said, I was going to cut it off, and he said, I don't want it cut my haircut. I want it braided, because he had seen that somewhere, you know, and he thought that it was cool. He could identify with that because he saw somebody that looked like that looked like him, and he thought it was cool. And I said, okay, I'm that parent that supports my children's individuality. their creativity. And I also support them embracing their culture, however they want to embrace it. My 12-year-old wants to become vegan. Okay, well, we're going to support that. I want to, I'm raising free thinking individuals.
Right.
And so I got a phone call on March 3rd, on March 4th, the day after I braided his hair, said, oh, his hair is a violation of our code of conduct. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is, he's 4, and this is an all Black school. And we have the Crown Act out there. We have so much information. People were just fighting in the streets and rallying in the streets saying Black Lives Matter. Last summer, we have imploded and now we've exploded. And you are telling me that I cannot braid my son's hair because it is not in alignment with the school's philosophy, and that it could pose as a distraction. This is from the handbook, and that it is and irate. Well, so I didn't become irate with them. I spoke with them as I should. I escalated the situation, within the institution, and nobody wanted to really consider what I was suggesting that was problematic with the rules and the policies like this, and how they predominantly affect and target African American children, because you cannot find one rule that says that wearing straight hair is against the policy. You cannot find one rule that says that.
Right.
Okay, and so I said these rules affect and target Black children, and it affects their educational outcomes because you're affecting their mental health. They're starting to think now, they're sitting there trying to learn, but they're thinking that something is wrong with their hair.
Right.
So I know the mental behind this because I've lived this my entire life, and so I tried to have reasonable conversations with these people. One of the people that made me take this national was a Black man, the principal of the school. He told me, these are the rules. I don't prefer to see my boys that way, and I'm not changing the rule.
So it was all about him. And oh wow.
Yeah, I said, first, this is not your boy. My son is not your boy. He's my son. He's my child. Okay, and I don't pay you, because I paid a good amount of money for my kids to go to the school. I don't pay you to dictate how they should and should not wear their hair. I can understand a uniform dress code in terms of the clothing, blue and white. That's your uniform. Cool, I can rock with that. But the way that he wears his hair, especially at 4 years old, does not do anything except foster his creativity and help him to connect with who he is culturally and express himself. And that's something that is just as valuable as you teaching him his alphabet. Okay. And so I said, I don't care. I said, okay, well, you can decide which side of history you're going to be on, because I'm going to take this as far as it needs to go in order to change this rule. And so that's where it began. And I ate, breathed, and lived this movement, from March 4th up until the governor has not signed it yet, but until the House and the Senate decided on May 20th, the law that they were going to change the law. And I said each of the meetings I guess, or the where they discussed the floor or whatever. But I attended and I spoke on what the effects of rules like these, the effects that they have on children of color. Step one, but even to the uniform dress codes, they have all these zero tolerance policies that are predominantly in African American schools. Okay, where they feel like they need to police us, and their zero tolerance type policy. So had I continued to braid my child's hair and sent him to school, well, then he risked being expelled from school.
For his hair?
That's a zero tolerance policy.
This happened in what year was this? 2021?
This was in March. This year. 2021.
This year.
What? Hold on, wait. I'm thinking.
No, it's this year.
No, ma'am. This happened in March 2021.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
and they
still got
changed
some.
the law, and they named it, so they changed the law and they named it the Jet Hawkins Act. So the governor has yet to sign it, but he will. He'll sign it. I guess they do their signings over the summer or whatever. But yeah, this is a law. So they changed the law now, whereas if you have discriminatory policies on the books related to hair, then your school will not receive funding. So you can absolutely discriminate. You just won't get any funding from the state of Illinois if you choose to do that. And
Wow.
so that was step one for me. But the next step is, okay, we've changed this law in Illinois. We need to change the law, and duplicate this across the United States. Number one.
Right.
Number two, we need to change the how do I say it? We need to change
Yes.
that we need to change the reason why they were able to operate like this for so long. There needs to be more culturally responsive training and teaching for the staff and administration in these schools. To me, it's like, would I give a babysitter my child without giving them instructions on how to care for them? Never. Never would I do a thing like that. So why do we continuously leave our children in the hands of, and their mental health outcomes in the hands of people who do not love them, and
Right.
B, who do not know how to care for them, who do not understand what a twist out is, and so think that your hair is unkept. It needs to get down to that minuscule. They need to learn what Black hair is. They need to learn the history of our hair and why this is more than just a protective style by name. This is this has protected us and our crown and our, the crown chakra.
So the target on mandate, is that just educators, or who would be the mandate on that?
Anybody who has interactions with our children. So that's coaches, that's teachers, that's camp counselors, that's whoever puts our children at risk for having mental health, negative mental health outcomes because of the interactions that they have with ignorant adults. And so we cannot just assume, because these people didn't even, there are so many people that are like, well, Caucasian folks that are like, that's a rule. Because I talk about it all the time. I talk to them about the law and they were like, what? That's ridiculous. Why is that even a rule? Why? And I'm saying, yeah, that's absolutely. So people don't even, since it does not affect them, they don't know, or I don't know, they say they don't know, or they act like they don't know. We don't know if it's a willful blindness or intentional ignorance. I'm not quite sure.
Or they got those paycheck people too. Your salary keeps your silence. So it could be
we
that
had
too.
one of those inside of the school. I had a very harsh tongue lashing to the administrator who was in the school, who was a black woman, an auntie, because that's how I feel about it. When I go and take my child into a place and I look around and I don't see none of us, but then I see one of us, there's supposed to be that unspoken connection, right? I look at you, you look at me, we know what's up. That means take care of my child, right? I trust you, right? I said, I told her you were the most disgusting one of all, because you are supposed to be the keeper of these children, these Black children. You are the auntie, you are the godmother, you are the alternate mother to our kids in an environment where there's not very many people that look like us. And you participated in their pain. You participated in their suffering. You participated in a physical assault on a child, because when you comb a 17-year-old's hair who says they don't want their hair combed because it's in a twist out, a natural hairstyle, and you comb it and you say, well, this is a conservative school, and you do that anyway while the child is crying up to you, looking at you, eye contact, crying, you participated in a physical assault. Your hands don't belong on that. This is an extension of my body. If you pull it, I hurt, right?
Oh yeah.
You have absolutely no authority to put your hands on that child's head.
That definitely is assault. I studied law a little bit. I know what you're talking about. So yeah, absolutely. And people.
So I told her that was some, excuse my French, I don't know if y'all curse on this show, but I told her that was some mamie shit if I ever did see something.
Yes, I curse, girl.
Okay, I said that was some mamie shit, and I don't appreciate hearing that, because that means
That
I
is a
cannot
shirt.
trust my child with you. I removed my kids because everybody said, "Oh, girl, you moved kids out of it." I sure did, because I cannot trust my children's mental health with you.
So let me ask you this, because I know you mentioned something that I mentioned to Marty earlier when she was telling me about the story. Um, and I was thinking, I didn't think it was this year, but I was just like, why are we fighting what we fought 5 years ago? Because we've been hearing this story about our hair and these restrictions that they place on our hair, especially with our children going to these uppity schools, because that's usually where the issue lies. Um, you say you want to just basically not just fix it for the state, but you want it nationally fixed, right?
Absolutely. I've gone to Good Morning. I've done all the shows, even Good Morning America, talked to CNN. I want it changed on a
Yeah.
national level.
Okay. And so there is a policy right now on the books, or has it already? Because I heard you say two things. I just want to make sure I'm hearing it clearly. I know you said it was a bill, an act, right? Already passed.
Senate Bill 81, Senate Bill 816.
Okay, Senate Bill
Um,
816,
yes,
and
was it
that's the one
817?
that
I've said it
you're
so many times, I feel like I forget. But yeah, Senate
yeah,
Bill, I think it might be
Senate.
Senate Bill 817. I got to look it up real quick. But
But
yeah,
what does
it's
this bill?
a
This
bill
is
that says that the schools cannot discriminate, or cannot have a policy on the books that is discriminatory in nature against ethnic hair for people of color. And
mm-hmm,
it specifically calls out twists, braids, twists, um, um, locks, all of the things that they love to very specifically target. I'm looking for a charger, y'all. Specifically target um, in their policies that are against the rules. You know, the types of things that make them exclude kids from graduation ceremonies and
mm-hmm.
all
Right.
of those types of things. Kids that have earned their diplomas and stuff like that, and tell them you can't wear your hair like this, or you're not going to be able to participate in the graduation ceremony and all that kind of stuff. No, we can't do that anymore.
Okay, and so to make it clear, so then, if I heard you correctly, so the schools is so this is just for public, but there's nothing to really protect against the private schools doing it.
Oh no, that's for private schools too. It's
Okay,
public, private, charter, all schools, any school.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay. So it
Oh yeah,
covers it
my
all.
kids were in private school,
Good,
so yeah, that protects
good.
them against
Because that's
all. That protects
usually
them
the
all.
problem that we have is private. A lot of those private schools have been doing that, and that's why we keep hearing about these stories, spontaneously, because nobody has really ever tried to go after, I guess, nationally and try to
Yeah.
fix it all as a whole. So, oh
Oh
wow,
no,
mad
I'm.
respect for that.
Oh yeah, I was very, very specific in what I was trying to do, and I think that's the other thing is what we have to do is you have to learn. This is all a game.
hmm
This is a game,
Right.
right? A lot of people, and I do believe sometimes too, that it feels like a simulation. And so if we're playing the game, what we have to submit to is that this is a game. And so then
hmm
you have to learn how to play it. Okay?
mm
So the way that you play it is on these types of things, you have to turn it into a law, a policy. Because
hmm
that's how they able to spin everything. That's if you
hmm
look at the 13th Amendment,
Right.
if you look at the 13th Amendment and how they spent that, that is
hmm
why they use the penal system to still continuously enslave us.
Hmm.
Oh
Because
yeah,
you look at the 13th,
neo-slavery.
So
Neo-slavery
let
is
me
what
ask
they
this
call it.
question. Let me ask this question, Ida. Do you think we could rally up enough black women to just torch every single law? Because
hell yeah.
these policies are rooted in 1800 draconian laws.
Yeah,
They just
absolutely.
regifted.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, I was
it's
hollering saying
time.
we
We
need to
absolutely
rewrite the
can.
Constitution. We need to rewrite
Yeah,
that Constitution. It wasn't
Yes,
written for
clear.
no. It wasn't written for us.
it wasn't. It
Wow.
was written against us. You know,
Yep.
So
so
where's your
many
support
things that
at on
they were.
this, Ida? I'm excited about this. Where's the support on this? Is it some major support or is it major pushback?
I got major support.
Yes, she
Okay.
got support.
I had a few people who were suffering from PTSD in terms of post traumatic slave disorder. I had some people telling me, some of us some of us telling me
We the
it's
worst.
always us. It's always us.
telling me yes, it was because I have more non-us at first supporting. Well, I had us too, but I have a lot of. I don't think that all white people are bad people, and I don't think all black people are good people. All skin folks ain't kin folks, as they say.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
right.
so I've had some people who have been on the other side that will show up to the rally before the others show up. They're like, this don't make no sense. And what do we need to do? How do we use our privilege? Because they finally start to recognize how do I use my privilege and my power to help you in your cause? Because I just care about people, and I've had people in my life who have done that. I've been incredibly blessed. And there has been a whole lot of the only way that I was able to do this is because God amplified my voice because I'm willing and He is able. And
Amen.
the people got behind me, and there was such a huge response that they could not ignore me.
Right.
And so,
okay, you said two key things that I'm always saying. People are the power. That's the one point you said. The other part was the way you really change things is through that policy, and so you already got your eye on the prize. I love it.
absolutely. That's what I was trying to say. We have to change the culture in which these rules were able to exist for so long. If we continuously say, like I have been on my pastor, one of the things that I have taken from my pastor was little sayings. I picked up, I was raised by older people. And so I have all of the little sayings. And one of his sayings is, you cannot sit on the stool of do nothing singing, I shall not be moved. And so we cannot continue to say, dang, racism, this, man, they need to stop doing this, that, and the third. They don't care about your complaining.
Right.
They don't care about that. They really don't even care about your marching, for real. Okay?
No.
March all you want. They don't care about that. Go ahead, nigga, do your march. They don't really care for real. What they care about is when you start using your intellect and your money, your dollar. When you get some names that mean something, recognizing what you're saying. But it was one thing when Block Club Chicago said something. Okay, it was another one NBC Fox. Then it was another one NBC. But it was a whole nother game changer when CNN called, and then when the Good Morning America called. Then now you want to listen. Now it's like, oh, okay, this nigga ain't gonna stop. This woman is on the rampage, and also
did anybody try to buy you off on the way? Because that's what I've experienced.
No,
okay.
No. The school. Oh, wait a minute. The school found $1,000 that they owed me.
You say found.
Okay, miraculously.
Here's the other thing that I've learned is when you on something, you have to be on that specific thing, right? You cannot be all over the place. So yeah, I got a whole list of grievances. But right now, let me keep it right here on this hair thing, and let me draw and paint the picture for.
I like you. Oh my God, I love you. You own it because you sound. Look, Tabby. I'm telling you. Look, you're like my conscience. Like I'm trying to look for somebody to give her the confirmation what I've been saying. You're saying exactly what a conversation I had with her earlier. So go ahead and spill it, girl. She's listening to you.
Yes. You have to stay on that thing. And then you have to paint the picture in words that people can connect with and identify. Because see, my baby got on the shirt right now that says, for us, it's bigger than just hair. This is not just about hair. This is about the mental health outcomes for children. Because when first of all, we start with the messaging when they are little babies, when we start with shit like good hair. I've been guilty of it too. I've had to now that I know, I have to correct and stop and consciously say to myself, don't you say that, because all hair is good hair. I looked at my little cousin Mila. She's so beautiful. She's so chocolate and beautiful. And she has this fine hair. And I almost said, oh, she has such good hair. And but I stopped myself and just told her, you are so beautiful. All of your features, everything about you is beautiful. She's the only one, but at the same time, you don't know who's paying attention, right? Because if I say that to Mila, but I didn't say that to the other child that's in the room or whatever, the subconscious feeling is my hair is inferior to her hair. That's the messaging that you gave, because because everybody knows, we know how it is. You dote on this certain child that has these
Absolutely.
worldly, more desirable features or whatever, and it sends a subconscious message to the other child that something about them is not desirable. Because I was the other child. I was dark skinned. I did not have great textured hair, although the beautician told me I had good hair because it could hold a curl, and I had long hair. It was thick, but it wasn't soft. It was coarse. It was coily. So I thought I had nappy hair. I had bad hair, and I started perming my hair when I was younger, and I did not feel good about myself if my hair was not straight. If my hair was not straightened. And then I know, then fast forward years later, I'm having this mental breakdown. I don't know where it's coming from. And it's coming from me not feeling very good about myself, for about my features and all of this stuff. And I'm scared to try a new hairstyle. My friends are like, girl, you had the same hairstyle for 25 years. Can we please see something different? And I'm like, I don't want to be ghetto. I don't want to be, or whatever these negative connotations that are put out about us embracing our hair and our culture and connecting with ourselves in a way that we just didn't even know. Like, we're so empty, and we're so easily filled by the wrong things because we have no concept of who we are as people, because that's been stripped away from us. We have no idea why we are so connected to, like, we are so attracted to this, so attracted to that hair, because this is the hair, these are the hairstyles our ancestors wore in, in tribal ways. But we were robbed of that knowledge. So that's the other thing. That's another piece of what I'm working towards having in terms of this cultural awareness training, cultural awareness for us as well. Helping our children come into an understanding sooner than what I had to come to an understanding of who I am. They give us, I'll give you a little example of Ida B. Wells. That's who I am very deeply connected with. Ida B. Wells. My name is Ida. I had no idea why. I was so enthralled by this woman always, right? So, but the only thing that they taught me about Ida B. Wells was that she was a journalist.
They didn't tell us enough. Oh my God, she was amazing.
What they didn't tell me was that sister was bad. Like, I learned.
She's a leader of African American women literary, which really set some things forward for real.
Yes, you talking about the they said we don't protect y'all don't protect black men. Who? Because Ida was after them in court about black men being killed because they were trying to advance themselves. She figured out the pattern of black men trying to better themselves and better their communities and better the outcomes for their family and being killed for it. And she called it out. She organized things with the Democratic National Convention or something, I believe it was in 1913. And they said, and she got women the ability to participate in this march. And they said, oh, colored don't get to march in the front, even though she was like the organizer or the leader of this. And you got to march in the back. She said, oh, no, I will not. And she escorted herself to the front of the line in 1913. Okay. Ida did not play. Ida was questioning everything. Ida was a freedom fighter. And they didn't tell us none of that. I didn't learn none of that in school. I learned it.
Where did you learn it? Because I learned it from an Irish professor. That's when I really started learning white. When I started learning our history, I was in an pretty much predominantly white private college. And my Irish professor taught me in a room with a whole bunch of other white people. So they know our history more so than we do. And I'm not understanding.
And when that's where the intimidation comes from. And that's when I learned every environment that I was in terms of work. I was always that person that was like, I suffered from John Henryism, I guess you could say. I worked.
Oh my God!
I worked, and I wanted to be the best. I was a performer, and I had to just go. I faced so many obstacles in the workplace, and I came to find out afterwards it was because they knew me and who I was and what my capabilities was, even more so than what I did. And what they always tried to do was diminish my value.
Yep.
And see, what I figured out about this whole school thing is they're starting them out at 4 years old, trying to diminish their value.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh no, see, this is what we're not going to do. This is what we're not going to do. And so, circling back in the education system, there needs to be a push for, while there is a push now, Illinois is now going to have, it's mandatory that they teach Asian American history.
Right.
Beautiful. I'm loving to see it. I'm loving to hear it. Now what you need to also do, and I'm going to sneak on up in there. I ain't finished with them yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The depth of perception for the Black experience and the African American history, and it needs to be deeper. It needs to be taught. Ex-British. We don't need to know about the British, the French and the British War.
Nothing.
Exit.
Wait.
We don't need to know.
Hold on. Why?
Because
why?
That is not relevant for us.
We need some relevance. Right.
But no, I mean, just like we want them to know about our history, I mean, I think we need to know about all of any history relevant to America.
Well, very good, important, but let's touch on it.
That's fair. That's fair.
They give us 75% content on their history, and these numbers may not be exact, okay? But it's about
too much.
75% content on their history, maybe 15% content, if that, on our history. We get a touch on it with Dr. King. We get Carter G. And we know, but the legends, which are extremely important, but they don't go into the depth on who they are, what their contribution was. I did not know that Ida B. Wells and Frederick Douglass was like this. They linked up. They was doing their thing. I ain't know nothing about it. I live here in Chicago. I had no idea that Ida B. Wells lived in this community, that community. I did not know that Martin Luther King lived on 16th Street, except my people taught me that. I lived on 19th and Hamlin, and Dr. King lived on 16th and Hamlin. I didn't know that. That ain't something that they taught us in school. They didn't go into the depth of who these people were and how it relates to me at all. It was just like, let's go ahead and glance over this. We in Black History Month. And that's, even for me, I feel like I learned a lot more than what these kids are learning, because I had a lot more conscious. I had some teachers. I had some good ones, that was like, enforcing that and teaching us these things. And I also have family, my family. And I also think that we should be teaching as a community. We need to do more and be more accountable for the outcomes of our children and their education. It's not just the schools, but inside of the school. This is the institution is where you go to learn a lot of these things, history. Okay. And so Black people built not only this country, but we've built every country just about across the entire globe. We built this. And there needs to be more homage and more respect put out there for us as a means of us being able to love, embrace, and respect ourselves. You want to stop these kids from killing one another? Because that's who's killing one another.
Teach them who to
us. The children that are walking around having no concept that their life has value.
You got to reinstill the pride. Absolutely. We have to reinstill.
The only way that you do that is by starting up telling them when they young, everybody, you are enough. In the space that you in, you are in. You are enough. Number one, you come from kings, queens, legends. And
but we also, I seen that backfire too, though, because again, you're doing and we're doing what clears the way for them to be those people. Because a lot of times our kids, we tell them all that, we send them to those schoolhouses, and then they put them on some medicine and say they something else.
Oh my God, yes, I had that. Well, I had an attempt on my son's life on that one too. My son, I have a genius upstairs, Ashton. He was a genius, and they didn't know what to do with the genius, and they wanted me to medicate him. But they couldn't say that. But what they did start doing was writing. They gave me something called an SST write-up. They sat me in a room, them on one side, me on this side, to tell me about my son, who is literally almost a genius. He was his IQ. Oh gosh, was it one? Oh, I think it was 129 when he was 8 years old. Okay, and the principal called me because at first they were trying to say that they were trying to say that he was on the spectrum of Asperger's and all of the A words. I call them the A words: autism, Asperger's, ADHD, all
Oh
of those.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
The A words. So you call them the A word, okay? And so they said, he's very distracted, so on and so forth, blah 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 blah. We think that he's on the spectrum, but we can't say because we're not psychiatrists, but we want to let him see the school psychiatrist and whatever. When you are a parent, if you're a regular, and I don't want to say regular as a negative thing,
Right.
because I think that I'm irregular. I think I think I'm crazy, right? So when you hear these things, it sends you into a frenzy, because nobody wants anything to be wrong with their child. They want their child to be normal, right? And so they're telling me all these things, and then you allow them
Them.
them to
Mm-hmm.
administer their tests. I got a lot to say about their
So wait. Let me play devil advocate here. This is what
tests.
I've seen too. So they're not this luckily your child has you as a mother. Just like my
Right.
children had me as a mother. And Marty kids have her as a mother. So some of those people when they run into us, they're like, oh shoot, wait, hot, put it back. We got that. But what
Mm-hmm.
about the other meek people that we know so in such a mass, the grandmothers that's raising these children, and they come with that same fast talk words that they don't know. And how I know people don't know words, I've sat in some of the most humble environments and watched CNN, and they asked me to translate half of the stuff they were saying on
I
there.
know, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like there definitely has to. I've always felt like there's a place of advocacy for me. I
Uh-huh.
feel like that's a part of my calling. I started my business so that I can have a platform, so that I can make the money, so that I can do the things that I need to do. Because sometimes people need somebody that's an intercessor
Mm-hmm.
that they can call in and say, okay, wait a minute, what are they talking about? Because they do a lot of fast talking, and if you ain't fast talking too, you might miss
But
what
we
they.
need to put it to policy because what I noticed during the pandemic, they start giving the numbers of how many kids the mass majority of kids is diagnosed with mental illnesses. They get diagnosed through school, and they were saying they had to open up the schools. That was one of the arguments because all these kids are not getting the help and the treatment they need. And I'm thinking like every kid I know y'all to diagnose y'all have
They
misdiagnosed
diagnosed my son with ADHD and Asperger's and all kinds of shit. And my
them.
son heard these words and started what? Subscribing to
Repeat.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't. Mom, I got ADHD. You know who also has ADHD? Me.
And that's what I told
I
me
got
too.
ADHD too, and it's my superpower. And I understand that people, sometimes there's levels to this. I'm not completely ignorant or whatever, but what it meant for me is that I needed to step my game up as a mother in terms
Yes,
of
yes,
supporting my child. It did not mean that I needed to put my son on Ritalin, Focalin, Adderall, whatever
Right.
those medications are, because they have adverse effects, especially for children in their growth and their development. And that's how they get you right where they want you to be. Okay, complacent and compliant. No, I'm not raising you to be that way. You're not. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need you to be sitting there like that. No, I need your brain to still be able to think, function, and I need you to understand that maybe you do have a touch of ADHD, but it's your superpower, because what it was is he's a genius. And I said, you cannot expect. I said, well, what y'all need to do is step up your game, because
Right.
you're trying to have him. You're trying to fit a circle into a square. You're trying to fit a circle into a square. So I'm going to challenge you rather than you challenging him, because I'm going to challenge him as well. But I'm challenging you to think more so out of the box and how you can teach him better, how you can teach him differently, how you can incorporate my son. So I had a teacher. She was an African American teacher, though. She was a genius too. I said, what we came up with him for him because this guy was finishing up his work. It was ticking her off a little bit at first. That's why we had this meeting. But he was finishing up his, like, let's say it's an hour-long test. He was finishing in 15 minutes. And then he wouldn't go back to check his work or all of that kind of stuff there. There was at first a concern about cheating. But then she really came to figure out, no, he was able to really figure it out. And then he would sit there and just be, so he was zoned out and she would have a hard time wrangling him back in because he's done. He's shut off now. He's checked out. He understands the lesson. He's checked out. So what she did was she made him a student teacher. Performance went through the roof. The only way that you can continue to be a student teacher is if you make sure that you do this, 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 and this. He did this, 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 and this. His grades, his performance matched his intellect and his abilities and what we knew he could do, but he had a responsibility. And that was that made the difference. Made him a tutor in the next grade. She made him a tutor. So he felt like he felt like he was a boss or something. You know what I'm saying? So he was able to step into his power. And so just that small little out of the box thing helped him. But she was willing. She loved my son too, and she was concerned because she knew what his abilities was, and she was a mother, like, you know,
right.
She was a problem solver. She was able to think outside the box. People who do not care for your children for real, no, not gonna do it.
Okay, may I ask a question? Why is it feels like we are supposed to allow them in our kids' school, and we know the detriment that they're doing. Why must, well, I'm talking from the hood standpoint, why must we allow this, but in their school districts, they're not having too many of our teachers in there, let alone our students?
Well, we don't have a lot of Black people who are willing to be teachers because of all of this, the strife that they have to deal with. They don't feel like they get paid. People don't get paid enough on a teacher's salary to deal with all of the things that they have to deal with, and a lot of Black people don't want to do that.
Right.
So I think that's.
So we do really have a Black teacher shortage.
Yes, and we need more Black male teachers. But so the answer is, although they ain't gonna never agree with this, because then there's gonna be people that say, well, this is discriminatory. Offer an incentive for Black people to go into the field more.
They do that anyway. I mean, they do incentives for pay back loans. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Same thing for the others. It's nothing specific and exclusive for Black people.
It's normal. I mean, they got studies on it that show that kids respond better to people that look like them.
So people have to have. So we have to develop a heart for it, or something like maybe if there's more of a movement towards, but you have to get it in the Black. Ooh. Okay, so there's a lot.
But really, is it really a shortage of teachers? Because so many people that cross over. There's so many educated Black people that they claim can't get a job.
Black teachers, yes, there is a shortage of Black teachers because they don't want to do it. And then also though, I know a Black teacher. Shit, I wouldn't let her teach my kids nothing. I know somebody I wouldn't let teach my. I would not. No, ma'am. So
because she's saying that she don't want them coming into our school districts, like. But at the same time, when I asked somebody, I reversed it. I said it's so common for us to have an overwhelming of authoritative figures or people that's coming into our community to help that don't look like us. But I told somebody on a mission trip, I said, take me to somewhere where I can go and take pictures of me helping little white kids, impoverished white kids. Where are they? Because I hear so many white people. Wait, I heard plenty of white people my age say that they grew up impoverished, this and that. So they got the same story. Why are they not being exploited the same? You know, if that's the case, because I can't find no mission that I can go to that volunteer to help impoverished white kids. Not in our area.
No, not in our area. But if you go into a rural place, probably. But it's not. It's just I don't know.
But they hear poor too. They're here poor too, right? They say they grow up.
Yeah. I saw something that talked about. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I was watching about indentured servants that were still enslaved white folks in the 1960s in Mississippi. There were a lot of indentured servants, apparently.
Well, there were a lot of immigrants coming in. You don't want to forget that. So it was immigrants coming in that they gave land grants to and taught how to do agriculture to replace us. And then there was some probably that was ruthless and owed money and owed debts, and they just said, just work it off, and then you'll own this land when you're done. So yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, it's all true, but I think that a way to get more black students, black teachers, is you have to develop that thirst to do that in high school. There's a lot of kids right now that got a lot to say. These kids are really conscious nowadays, and I feel like if there is the conversations and the mind frame of, hey, I know you think this, and this. You have a lot of great ideas, and they do, about what could be different and better, and then just having that conversation with them and empowering them to know you are a person though that can make that change. You can
so teacher prep in high school. Yes. Have you seen any programs like that? Because they used to. They've always before, like I said, I met a lot of people without degrees, and they're like, "Oh, I went to business school." So couldn't it be something similar to those business schools that they told me that they went to back in the 60s?
Yes, and there is an incentive for black males at UIC. At UIC, my daughter goes to UIC.
But that's a university, right? I'm talking about a high school program. You said that the need would be
coming in. They offer scholarships to black and Latino men if they want to be teachers. They offer them a scholarship, okay, and some sort of a program. But how do people know about that until they get to UIC?
Right, but I'm actually, when you said that, because there's plenty of residency programs, that's what they are. That I see a lot of people going through, and they get and they connected to really good universities, so they get a free degree out of it and all of that, and whatever to serve their time. But I'm talking about actually something starting maybe in 10th grade.
If there is a campaign, campaigns are good for everything. If there is a campaign for and a lot of attention for, because right now what the push is what? STEM, right? My daughter right now is studying civil engineering because she went to a technology-based institute for school. And so maybe so another thing that my family is talking about, and I'm talking about with other educators, is creating a school, like starting a school. I know that is a huge undertaking, but it's something that if there's power in numbers and people, and if there's enough people that can get on one accord, and enough people that are willing and have the heart for God and for the mission, because all of this, everything that I'm talking about is for the glorification of God. God is not for the mess. God is not for the discrimination. We don't have a God that is manufactured like that. God wants there to be peace, love, understanding, with like all things good, And if a lot of good-hearted people and strong-minded and intellectual people come together to create this, we can create a program.
But we got to be able to see each other, and if we have different ideologies on how to get there, we got to just realize that we all still have our eyes on the same prize, and it doesn't matter how we get there as long as we're all headed and moving. And that was an issue because I talk about we're in really the third civil rights. We had the first civil rights during W.E.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey and Booker T. Washington. And the biggest thing that they probably would have been able to fix everything, but they couldn't respect each other different of ideology of what they all ultimately wanted to say.
Right. I agree, but I also do agree that what we also have to do is figure out what the intended outcome is, and all be in agreement that this is the methodology, or these are the methodologies that we are going to work towards, and we're doing that. Because
so basically devising a plan, having some objectives, and making sure we hit those goals.
Exactly. And saying, okay, if maybe there be a majority vote or something, because a lot of the things, a big problem that we do have also is that everybody want to do their own thing. And that's why we can't come together and make it work. Like if you study other cultures, one thing that they do have is that my husband, I guess you can call him, says they're on code. They're on code, and we don't know how to get on code with nothing. Like, it's, you are not about to. I challenge you. Find me something whereas someone is persecuting a Jewish person, right? And a Jewish person is with the people that are condemning the Jewish person. Find it. Find it. Find me a story where someone is condemning or there's an issue with the Italian, something with that's an Italian issue or whatever. Because you don't really even hear any of these, right? But if you hear this, show me where a bunch of Italians are talking mess about the problem with Italians. And this is why we don't support Italian people. And this is why.
Wait. Go a step further. I was just in the conversation and I really hadn't thought about it. They was like, how did all these immigrant groups become white? Because now they are calling their identities what it is, but they were safe white before it was okay to be something else. So you guys didn't come on as Anglo-Saxon, European, but y'all look like them. And although your culture, your heritage wasn't the same, because you knew that you had that advantage to use that whiteness, you did. But then you want to claim your heritage afterwards?
Yeah. So,
Ida,
ma'am,
while you were talking, I'm thinking of J. Edgar Hoover, who said the biggest threat in America is Negro unity. All those things that you named is like the crab in the barrel. It's just barrel, just look different.
Right, but the thing is, crabs don't even belong in a barrel.
Exactly. That's my point. So when it come to all that nonsense that you was just naming, I look at that as the barrel.
Yeah,
it's just another thing to divide them.
Yes, you want to be in the barrel, and they even I was upset about the thing that happened with Richardson, our track queen. We had a track. She ain't the track queen. She the track queen.
Right.
Oh, why I was mad at the amount of Black people that were coming against and condemning this girl for something that people are making billions of dollars off.
Right.
Marijuana is a $1 billion industry that our black tails only are 4%. We are reaping 4%. We are reaping 4% out of billions of dollars.
But what percentage did our men go to jail for when it was illegal? Like in there now.
Honey, that is why it's important to know the history. You don't say a word except we stand in solidarity with you, Queen. Or something.
That's it.
That's all. And if you feel what happened to us, we talk amongst ourselves, maybe. If you got something to say, or you pull her to the side and say, hey, don't be messing. But for you to be on a national platform agreeing with this mess, when you know what the reality is, she winning.
Right.
And they don't want to see us winning. You are confused. You're confused. So if she smoked weed every day, that's her body. That's her body. And it's a sedative. So if anything, it should have slowed her progression. I've smoked before. I don't know. I'm very transparent. I've smoked before, and all I wanted to do was eat and sit down somewhere. So what I did not want to do is run an Olympic marathon or whatever, a sprint. So if her lungs and her legs can handle that,
all right,
that's our business. Because the reality is, the very people who wrote these rules, benefit. Okay.
Hold on. The people that wrote the rules this year, because they just wrote them this year.
Okay.
I think because that Olympic was getting little too brown.
And they know that some of the brown folks like to partake, but baby, trust me, we ain't making billions of dollars because only we like to partake. They like to partake too. They likes to party, lottie dottie. They like to party too. And so, and it's an herb. We
Right.
have so much we have so much information. That's the thing that gets me too. We have so much information right now. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if this is intentional ignorance or willful blindness or what, because there
It
is
is.
so much information right here on this device. The one that unified us. I ain't never met you in person before. I ain't never met you before, but we unified through this little 11
Yes,
device.
yes.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because
So
I'm
there's
feeling you
more
so
than
hard.
enough
I can't wait to come to Chicago.
Okay, so you get some ice cream, girl. I gotta get you some ice cream.
Yes, yes.
But you know, we have so much information. They would not that we understand that the reason that this was even a rule in the first place is because there was a war on us.
Yep.
And they wanted to make that that drug a part of the war on Black people, Black families. And so you Negroes that don't know your history, I'm so sorry that they didn't teach it to you and you didn't take the time to read it for yourself, are playing right into the hands. And
Exactly.
because I feel like I'm at a point right now where I don't feel like I am oppressed. I've liberated myself. And it's up to all of us. And I even to what Kanye said, and I'm all over the place in my conversations, I know, but Kanye's when he said that we still slaves, I understood exactly what he meant, because
He
slavery
meant.
is mental. It's
Mm-hmm.
mental. Because even back then, the ones, how many people when did people start escaping slavery? Oh, what year was that?
Right.
What year did they start escaping slavery? When the one that looked to his right and looked to his left and was like, oh hell no. Not today.
I mean, they had some pretty good rebellions now.
Exactly. That's
You
why
Right.
know, but they were
exactly.
just outnumbered
When they
the gun technology is just
when those people, whoever they were, those great kings and queens, when they came into consciousness, they ended slavery for themselves. They didn't wait for Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation to be issued, because even when that was issued, sorry,
Right. Sorry.
that's why we have Juneteenth. They're
huh?
like, no, you know, that's why we have Juneteenth.
And when did we just start coming into consciousness that we should celebrate Juneteenth?
2021.
I've been celebrating it quite a while,
You
but
are in a
I'm not the same. That's why I say I don't compare
yes.
because of the influence. I mean, I'm under the Catherine Dunham influence, so it's been a whole lot of history, you know. I mean, from 16 on, that just getting thrown at me, you know, from the Caribbean to everywhere to where now it's finally making sense.
All of it. All of it. They don't want us to connect with our culture, because when we come to an understanding, I was able to get that law changed because I sat here on my living room sofa and
So you are really a policy maker. We can call you that, because I hate we didn't do an advertisement for you.
well,
You are a policy maker.
we can do it the next time. Well,
You will come back, because we got a couple good subjects coming up. We're building right now. I think it's gonna be a great thing once we really kick off and really get the visibility like we needed.
Oh
But
yeah, I got
people will know we were already connected right now. So when we do whatever for Illinois in the future, or the national, or for the nation, then they know.
It starts at home, and then we get it out there. You know, I have a big thing where we start with our micro, and then we go macro. I take care of my home. Take care of my children very well. I teach my children. I talk to my children. I educate my children right here in my house, and then my family. First, but let's dial it back. I started with myself.
Right.
Okay. I started helping myself, start working on my own mental health outcomes, and then teaching my children. I'm working on teaching my children, and I'm not perfect. And
None of us are.
I don't think
there's not a perfect person walking on this earth right now.
And it ain't gonna happen until
because Jesus had already came and gone. If you believe in Jesus, that's another subject. I got tore up on another show. So
girl, we can talk about
I tell them, don't take my Jesus away. No, leave my cross alone. Leave my Jesus alone. Yes, I understand, but yes, I'm sorry.
I respect. I feel like
that's that different ideology stuff that I'm talking about. That
and that's another thing for another conversation. Because if I said to my mom that I don't know if I believe in Jesus Christ, that would put my mom in doggone grade somewhere. I don't know. So I can't say that. I feel like I believe in many things.
Right.
I believe many things. And I'm still exploring and still learning. But as I learn more about who I am and what our culture is, and trying to get an understanding of where I come from.
Right.
We believed in deities.
Mm-hmm.
We believed in, Yemaya and Oshun and Ogun,
I understand it all.
and they told us that that was witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
They told
Right.
us that voodoo was bad. Voodoo, whatever they want to call it, was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I studied under Catherine Dunham, so believe me, I'm familiar with everything.
Right.
All
And so
right, and I
I
can
have
respect
to,
it all.
so, as a free thinking person, I have to, I feel like I'm reprogramming myself and questioning everything that I thought I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
You
me
should.
too.
And
Me too.
so
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in learning mode. But what I
Mm-hmm.
always also do though is respect other people's journey.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
respect your journey and I respect your belief, and I feel like there are many different things that we can take from organized religion, because I believe that that's what it all is. It's just organized religion, right?
Right.
Oh, you should
And
be. You should have been on that other conversation, and we're gonna have it again where it's just on Christianity. I'm not even sure how we got on Christianity, but
well, because
um,
again, this is a part of what they're not teaching us. If they didn't teach us,
mm-hmm,
I didn't learn anything about Orishas in school. I learned
mm-hmm,
about theology. I
mm-hmm.
learned
Uh-huh.
Bible is what I learned.
So, lady,
Right.
we are out. We are out of time. We actually a minute over
We are
already. I want to
past,
be
yeah.
able to have everybody have some closing remarks. Um, and Ms. Nelson, I guess I'll have you go first. Marty usually closes us out. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm going to let you say something, then Marty say something, and that's going to be the closeout.
Well, I think that to sum it all up, my thoughts and my missions all surround accountability. I feel like it's not even just on the school. It starts with us as parents, and even if
Right.
you don't have any biological children or your children are grown or whatever, I feel like if we think about and learn about and know our culture, we were all the parents of the children of the village. Children that look like you are your children.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That is why when you see and hear these stories, it resonates in your chest, and you get that tightening in your chest,
Mm-hmm.
and you're hurt because these are our children. And so I think that it's just time for us to get back to acting as a village and caring for our children, and taking and saying no, the mental health outcomes for our children are no longer on the table, and we will change policies to ensure that, since you can't do it the
That's
civilized
how our change comes.
But
Yes,
what's say the civilized way?
absolutely.
the
Well,
civilized way would be I tell you
as
how I feel and you respond, but they don't care how we feel.
right.
Oh, I love you, Mrs. Nelson. Oh my goodness.
Well, thank you for agreeing to come, because you just giving me that I needed, because I'm this close to saying I don't want to go back into a classroom ever. But I do know. Oh,
They need
you.
you.
I promise you. My mouth is for our babies. So
I
yeah,
know. I
yeah,
know you are on fire. I said, "Ooh, go somebody crazier than me." Ooh,
yeah,
imagine.
yeah. I don't hold
Here's
back.
Jet. Say hello, Jet.
Hello.
Hi,
This is
Jet.
Jet Hawkins.
Hey.
He is a
Hi.
teenager and he is 4 years old.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Good to meet
And nice
you.
to meet you as well.
Nice to
Okay.
meet
All
you.
right, well, this has been
Thank you.
Marty. Marty, you gonna say something?
Oh no.
All right, well, this has been the Marty and Tabby show. We'll see you next week, same time. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share,
Yes.
and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.